What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
Well, it's good to be here today, Ben. You know, I'm back from all of my worldly travels, as it were.
Worldly, a full 3 hours from home.
A full 3 hours from home, indeed. Yes, no doubt. I saw much. I was in a large basement, and that was mostly it. No.
Sounds like quite the quest.
No.
I know that you were, of course, speaking to your attendance at the Charlotte Pokemon Regionals this past weekend. How'd it go?
Well, I will say, record-wise, maybe not what we would have hoped for.
Okay.
I think I went 3, 2, and 4. So
what happened?
I know.
Total train. So for the folks listening at home that can't win-loss tie properly in their heads, that's
3 wins, 2 losses, 4 draws. Which compared to my Orlando standing, it's also that was 4-1-4. So I had 1 more loss and 1 less win in this one, but the same number of draws, which I feel like says a lot about my overall tendencies and what I need to work on.
This was my exact takeaway. Is that I was like, I feel like you're drawing too much.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, that to me is like the big, because if you add the records together, then it's like 7, 3, and 8.
Right.
So it's like it's not losing very much, really, but also not like finishing the games fast enough. It's like I feel like if I were to go to a coach, it would be like, let's circle this 8 right here and be like, this is where you are this is where you're, failing to make day 2. If you can convert 1 or 2 of these draws into wins on the day, then you're doing way, way better.
Yeah. And so as a general reminder, in when you go down, you're competing during a very everybody on day 1 is participating, like big group of people, and you're sort of working your way through the day. Every win gets you 3 points. Yes. Every draw gets you 1, and every loss is just 0. It's not like a negative balance.
Right. Yeah. It just gives you 0 points.
Okay. And you need 18 points
19
to make 19
yes.
points.
So you have to go. The worst you can do and still make it to the second day of competition is 6, 2, and 1.
6, 2, and 1 is the worst record you can have.
Is the worst record you can have and still make day 2. So you have I think right, or I guess you could go 5, 0, 4 would also work. That would give you 5. Yeah, that would give you 15 points plus 4 single. That would get you to 19 as well. So you go 5-0-4. Maybe that's the worst record, but the most common one is 6-2-1.
6-2-1.
That's
okay.
6 wins, 2 losses, and a draw.
Okay, so you got to walk us through the draws then, because this is like one of those things where I'm like, how do you tie?
How do you tie? Tie is basically you time out effectively. Like the rounds only last 50 minutes.
Okay.
And in that time, you have to finish a best of 3 match.
Okay.
So typically, if you get to a draw, it means that you won the first round, your opponent won the second round, and before you could finish the third round, nobody won.
Right.
And so what happens is after time is called, there are 3 turns remaining. So whoever's turn it is when time is called, that's turn 0. And then it goes to your opponent, that's turn 1, back to you, that's turn 2, back to your opponent, that's turn 3. And then after that, if nobody's won, that's it, game over.
Wow.
So it's it can be frustrating sometimes because there was at least certainly one game where we went through that and it was my opponent's turn. Theirs was turn 3 that they don't win the game and then that's the match. But had it just come back to me, I could have just said attack, I win.
And that's all you had to do.
That's all I need. You needed one more turn back. So it's and in those scenarios, it's really unfortunate that you're not able to close it out. On the other hand, there are times where it's you suddenly they call time and you realize I haven't taken a prize yet. My opponent has taken 3. Their board state is way better. But now all I have to do is not lose in 2 turns and I'll get a draw instead of a loss.
Right.
So there's there is that to it as well, which you can try and that can change your strategy.
Yeah.
For sure.
No. It's so interesting to me though, because one of my favorite movies is it's a comedy called I Love You Man with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. And there's it's like I always find it to be incredibly quotable for so many different reasons, and I probably quote it on like a daily basis all the time without even meaning to.
Right.
But oddly, there is this one phrase where I think Jason Segal's character's like whole thing is he like never wants to go golfing with his girlfriend or something like that. And they do end up going golfing, and there's like people who they're like holding up the line or whatever, and the people behind them are like saying like rate of play, rate of play, rate of play.
Yes.
And it's always like one of these things where it's like I don't really golf, so like the reference never really meant anything to me. But for some reason, when you kept telling me about the draws, all of a sudden this voice found its way through the years in the ether of my brain, and I was like, I'm just gonna stand behind you at the tournament and just be like, rate of play, rate of play, rate of play, rate of play.
Now, this is like one of those things too, because there is such a thing in the world of trading card games called like slow playing, where effectively you might be in this situation, you know, like where you might be where you might realize like, this game is not mine, but if I slow down, maybe we don't finish, and you know, like I can just take a long time to think, and so
it's a filibuster.
That people will try it, and it is not allowed. Like if
interesting.
But it's also one of those things where it's just like, you know, if you're the one who's like the victim of it, it's very hard to prove your opponent's doing it and they're not just thinking about their turn,
right?
You know, it's like what should be, and I think the rules say like they give like a certain amount of time, like about like what's generally should be considered. But of course there are board states where it's just like there's so many things you might want to do or things you might need to consider, or like, you know, you have like one copy of a card left in your deck and it's like, is it there? How can I, you know, manipulate the odds to get it in which sequence? And it can be very complicated where you might need an extra, you know, a little bit of time to think. But if you're taking 2 minutes to think, then it's like,
I know. I feel like what I'm going to do is make, I'm going to become Coach Ben. I'm going to get myself a whistle, maybe even, and we'll have you and Big Steve come up, and we'll start facing off with like the little chess clock timers.
Yeah.
And we'll do like drills where it's like you only have like 30 seconds between each, like to do each play.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like I'm going to make you get good at it.
It honestly would probably help.
Yeah.
So another way you can get around this, I suppose, is like different decks will like win or like succeed or fail quickly. So like we had a guy with us named Justin. This was one of the cool things about this particular tournament was that it was so close to Roanoke that there was the most of the people I know who play in Roanoke were there.
You had a squad.
We had like a squad. Yeah, it was like you could finish, you could go commiserate or celebrate. And the person in our group doing the best was this guy named Justin. He is like an absolutely delightful human being. And he was playing a DuraLOOdon deck. And DuraLOOdon's turns just don't take long because all it does is power itself up and attack. And like that's it. Like, which, you know, that's all it's trying to do. It's not having a ton of movements each turn. So I basically either it sets up quickly and just like plows through you, and its whole thing is that, like, it can't take damage mostly. If your opponent has like special energy, which almost all decks run some kind of special energy right now.
Oh yeah.
So
I completely understand.
You completely understand that. Yeah. So
I the guy who pronounces it DuraLOOdon.
DuraLOOdon. That's right. But so he was playing that, and so his matches would be over quick. Like either he would just destroy someone really quick, or he wouldn't set up and they would overcome him pretty quick. You know.
Yep.
And so like I feel like that's another way to go about it. Like maybe my strategy should be like, I think too much, so just play a deck that is very straightforward. Just do the thing you need to do, attack. That's it.
Oh, you know? I got 100% that style of deck, like knowing basically nothing else. Like I feel like I can't ever stress that enough. Like whenever we're talking about Pokemon, the differences between our knowledge bases are so vast.
Yeah.
But like I definitely think that I would want whatever is the least technical version of anything I could possibly ever do.
Right.
It's just like, that's it. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Now, on the other side of that, it's like you can see where then like typically decks like that don't offer you many choices.
Sure.
Which is every choice is a possibility to have been playing better, right? So
that's a good life lesson right there.
Right.
Every choice is an opportunity to be playing better.
Right. So like the top players often play decks that involve like, 20 choices per turn or something.
It's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, they can do anything, but can they choose the right path?
Ooh.
Whereas like they might always have a path to like 99% win rate, whereas you might have a path that like it's pretty obvious, but you're gonna always take that path and you're gonna win like 80% of the time.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, just take that path. But if you get one of these guys, and Justin did, he came up against one of like the pros.
That's pretty cool.
In like round 5, and we were all like, good luck. And that round ended, I think, faster than anyone. He was like, I got destroyed. And he was that guy was playing what's called the Lost Box deck, and that is a deck that involves like so many choices. And he was like, the guy apologized to Justin for slow playing, and he's watching him like, dude, you're playing this faster than anyone I've ever seen play this deck.
That is like, amazing.
They're this attack, So it's just like it's very interesting because it's like after the tournament, I saw on Twitter this guy named Andrew Hedrick tweeted out his deck list. It was like 58 of the exact same cards in my deck with like 2 very minor changes.
Sure.
So, and it's like he won the Orlando regional I went to, and he won the regional before that. So he's like extreme top player, and it's just like, you know what? My deck was more or less optimal because it was basically the same as his.
Right.
And it's just like, but he did really well and I did. So it's like there is like a skill difference there for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just like, I feel like it's very weird because, of course, when you're playing, you feel like you're making the best moves possible,
right,
and stuff. But obviously, you're not. And it's like, what could I be doing that moves like those 8 draws into like 4 draws or something?
Right. Well, and this is what I always think is very interesting about like even like professional sports. Like if you've ever watched like football or soccer or anything, like so much of literally what you're watching unfold is people who are doing exactly what they're supposed to do in the exact right position and are the most physically capable human being in the world to achieve those goals. And it is literally like reaching break point of people who are successful at exactly what they're supposed to do 99.9% of the time.
Right.
And so it's like anytime you see something happen, it's just a sheer testament to like some of it being like the odds, or like someone slipped on the turf or something small happened. But I feel like this is like the game, especially like watching like the World Cup this past year with like professional soccer.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally just like pass the ball backwards, go backwards several times, and then move the ball forward.
Right.
And see if you can get like that breakaway.
Yeah.
Didn't get it?
Didn't
no
get
problem.
It. That's all right.
Reset the board.
Do it again.
And maybe they'll mess up this time, or maybe we'll mess up this time, and then they'll have a breakaway. But it's just like the game. The professional sports are literally like every single highlight is just a tiny, tiny, tiny rare mistake that someone made.
Right.
And it's like, and they wouldn't make that mistake most of the time.
Right.
It's just, that's like the laws of probability literally being like pressed to their breaking points.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a lot of what it is. It's just like bad matchups and people taking advantage of it. And yeah, it's like you might watch some professional guy get like blown past by some amazing dribbler or something. And it's like, the fact of the matter is you couldn't get past that guy all day. You couldn't get past that guy all week,
Right, yes.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. But it was also very interesting for me this past weekend because we had the opportunity to actually drive down, Alice and I, and Addison, and we were able to drop in at the Pokemon Regional Tournament. And, dude, I gotta tell you, it's like, it is the most like bizarre emotional feeling that like I go through, because like I walked into this like massive convention hall center thing. You've got like hundreds of tables, thousands of people all just like quietly playing through these games. Like you're meandering through this giant like field of people, and I'm like, literally it's one of these things where you almost have to look at every single person, because I could have walked past you like 6 times
and not know,
and not even known it. Yeah. And so I actually ultimately I by sheer luck, I ended up finding both you and Steven. And so I was just like watching you guys play from like, 15 yards away or whatever. And it was like one of those things like where neither of you looked up, neither of you realized that like I was there and like watching and like being like so excited and everything. But goodness gracious, I have like my emotional like reaction to seeing you guys play is something like, it's like I had like a frog in my throat like immediately. Like it was almost like I could have been watching you guys as like gladiators in the Colosseum facing down a lion.
Right.
Where it was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm like, I'm pulling for him so hard, right? You know, it's like I could not have been more invested in anything I've ever seen. And like, I don't even understand the gameplay.
Right.
I couldn't see the cards you were doing. You didn't even know I was there.
Right.
And there were thousands of people all around you, but it was like this bizarre like Halo effect where I was just like, there's Jay and he's playing and it's happening. And it's like, it was like I wanted you to look up and be like, hey, I'm here. You know, but I was also like, I don't want to interrupt or like distract him or anything. So yeah, like so much like I feel like swelled with pride. Like when people say that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm so starting to understand like what this like sensation is, and it's just, I don't know, it's a very powerful thing, and it also made me then I think spend the rest of the weekend thinking about like the inevitability of watching like any of the kids in the family go and partake in like athletics of any kind or
anything
or like
whatever it is.
And I'm like, I was telling someone the other day, but I was like, the first time like that Addison shouldn't have to score a goal, like, you know, hit a home run, en passant, you know, like it doesn't matter like the first time I see her like ever touch the ball, I think I'm gonna be sobbing, I think, because like this is literally one of those things like you and Steven will regularly play like, you know, over lunch here in the office or something like that, you know, like I've seen you play the trading card game so many times, but like seeing it like in tournament status, it was like, oh man, this
lots
is like,
on the line.
This is something else, you know, like, so I don't know. It was really cool. And it was very exciting for me to get to like go into that environment and actually see it like, you know, unfolding. Cause I didn't get to see anything in Orlando, you know,
just like all text updates and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was a very welcome sight to see you after that round. I found, you and Alice and Addison, and you brought me a sandwich, which was extremely helpful.
Yeah. Okay. So you texted, like, we're on our way in. You're like, they canceled lunch. So it was like, they canceled lunch?
Dude, yes, I could not believe this. This was one of the weirdest things that, like, I don't feel like they should have been allowed to do. But at like 11 p.m. the night before, the event tweets out that the Masters lunch break has been canceled. And you're like, wait, what? Because like normally after the fourth round, there's like a 1 hour break where everyone can go get some food, recharge and stuff, and, you know, continue play. Because it's a long day. It's 9 rounds, and typically they run a little bit over. So it's like 9-10 hours of gameplay. You're there early. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, the round, if you finish, you might finish the round in like 15 minutes and have like a break where maybe you could go get some food, but you might not. You might take the full hour or the full 50 minutes, like almost every time.
Which it sounds like you are.
Which it sounds like, yeah, I'm certainly one of these people who like, I go almost to the clock almost every time because I just need to play faster or make better decisions, or I don't know.
Rate of play.
There, I can come back to that if you want. But yeah, so I was like, you know, there was no time for me to go like leave the venue and come back and be there for the start of the next round to like get food. And like, we didn't bring granola bars or bananas or anything with us. It was like, what are we supposed to eat?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is like, so when I first got out of college, I was doing a lot of work with this aquarium company, and the guy who was at the helm of it was like, he was so like hardcore and intense, and you know, he's one of these people who's like very top of his field, like one of the top like aquarium builders in the country, in the world, really. And as a result, you know, like he has like a tenacity and like an approach to how he does his work. And I remember when I first started doing work with him, he always made it such a huge deal. It was like, at some point in the day, it was like break, and he would go to like a sit-down restaurant. Like we would leave like a construction yard,
right?
You know, like covered in dust and everything. We would go to a sit-down restaurant and have like a full meal,
right,
every single day. And I was like, this is a little like gratuitous, you know, like, you know, like,
yeah.
Seems like the other guys on the yard are you know, grabbing like the nearby like Subway or something like that, you know, not or packing a lunch, not going and having like a full, you know, like waiter meal. But I very quickly realized that like when you work with him, it's not only physically exhausting, but also mentally exhausting. And more often than not, I found the mental exhaustion the big reason why I needed like to be like refueled, because you know, your brain just has to be able to fire. And I'm like, I cannot imagine, because these tournament days start at like 9 in the morning, and go till 9 at night,
basically.
And so it's like you can't go that long without food.
You just can't. Yes, you know.
if you have a team of people that works with you or that you were in charge of or anything, the number one thing I'm always like, you got to make sure your people are fed because it is like such a game changer. So yeah, I could not believe when you said it was like they canceled lunch.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I couldn't believe it either. I was like, fortunately, like we had you there. Maybe if you had like, family members or spectators you came with, they could have like gone and wait in the concessions line while you were playing or something. But I think plenty of people there are just there completely by themselves or only with friends who are also playing. And I don't know what they did. Just starve, I guess.
just be hungry. Let your brain slowly dwindle down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, got to keep that blood sugar high.
There's that, basically.
Appropriate, whatever the correct thing is.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it is. You got to refuel, basically, because it is mentally exhausting. Like, I slept so good that night. It's just like, I can't believe how tired I feel at the end of those days, but it is just like complete. Like, it is so much thinking in one day.
Yeah, no, I know. And it's wild because, very frequently that's how I feel after a day of work here at Super Carlin Brothers. It's like or even like we've been writing like the what if videos here lately. Like if you watch like the Super Carlin Brothers show where we just like delve into like, hey, like let's change like one detail in the story and then go through and figure out all of the ripple effects and like all of the other things that like might now be different as a result. And like, dude, when we're sitting there, I'm like trying to like turn pages of books or, like frames in a movie or whatever over in my head. I'm just like, and then, but now we have to consider the fact that like now that person doesn't have that thing. And then because they don't have that thing, then that means that like, these other, like 6 dominoes that normally falls, like now they don't fall anymore. And so like, what happens with that? Is that a problem?
Yeah.
So like, I get to the end of those days where even just in the middle of them, and I'm like, I got to go find some food.
Oh, for sure. It's like, I need some brain food or something.
Yeah. Something to keep me going.
Yeah. They're like, they are very difficult, right? There'll be times where I feel like we'll just like get to a point and you and I will just sort of be like staring into space, just like, what about that? And so someone eventually be like, oh, what about this?
Yeah.
I think I got it.
I found the thing. Yeah. Okay. Everybody freeze.
Nobody move. Okay. I gotta give me the marker. Give me the marker. This. Like, that's it. You got it.
Yes. It blows my mind the number of times that we've been staring at a blank whiteboard and have not been able to figure out like what's going to come next in this equation. And then finally it's like the key gets turned inside of the lock and it's like, oh, we cracked it.
Oh, that's it.
We cracked it.
This is it.
And the thing is that I cannot train my brain in any way, shape, or form to rely on, like, I don't know how we're going to solve it, but we will.
Yeah.
This is like, so I think I told you once upon a time, you had the you can do hard things,
sign.
like mantra and sign you ended up putting in your house, like in front of your Peloton bike. Mm-hmm. And the one that I had that like I couldn't believe because I used to always call them like encouragements, but they're just like the little things that you might have in your house that say something like exactly encouraging or sweet or thoughtful or whatever. And I have never liked them. And then finally stumbled across the phrase like you'll think of something. And I think I've talked about this on the pod before, but so now we have a huge sign inside of our kitchen that says you'll think of something.
Think of something.
And I try to lodge it into my brain at all times because there is nothing like everybody always talks about like fear of the unknown. And it's like, it's like, oh, that's very wise, like, but fear of the unknown is the underlying basis for all fear always.
That is always what it is. All fear is fear of the unknown.
All fear is fear of the unknown. It's like, it's like what terrifies you about a snake is like not necessarily the absolute imminent danger that snake poses to you. It is that you don't know what it's going to do.
You don't know what it's going to do and what's going to happen if it bites you.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But my suspicion is that if you spent 10 years learning the behaviors and handling snakes, then you probably like that unknown has been dusted off. It's not unknown anymore.
It's not unknown.
Now it's just known.
Exactly. You just get it. You get it.
That is what skill is.
Right. Yeah. This is what practice and repetition and all that is.
Exactly. So. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So anyway, as time goes on with our what ifs, maybe eventually it'll qualify into skill. And even though we don't know how to solve it, we'll know that we can solve it.
I feel like we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good.
That's
we're getting
good.
there.
That's
you
good.
know, man, this is I don't know, veering off semi-related tangent here.
I love it.
I have like slowly over the past like year, my shower faucet has become more and more like leaky.
Okay.
It's so annoying.
Okay.
Like you'd be laying in bed at night and it'd be like You'd be like, what the heck was that? Oh my God. Like I'll like hear like a sound and you'd be like, that was a weird sound. What was that? And then like, like 30 seconds later, we're like, you'd be like, what was that? And then suddenly be like, oh yeah, it's the shower. Now it's more like, it's like so constant and loud. It's like unignorable. And it keeps like being one of these things in my brain where I'm like, God, like I feel like I should be able to fix this, and I feel like it's probably just like a blown like gasket or something, but it's going to involve like a whole day of disassembling my shower head and going to find exactly the right like little rubber ring I have to replace and putting it back on. And then I was like this has been the concern in my brain about the leaky shower, or it's like, or I'm gonna have to call a plumber or something.
Oh, the worst.
I know, and I'm like, this has been the concern about like why I have not actioned on it forever. And this morning I was like, why don't I just get a whole new shower head? I'll just like, and then I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't even think I like this shower head.
Wow.
I'm like, I know, I'm like, all of a sudden it's just like, this is definitely the solution. Not even a solution, it's an upgrade. I'm almost excited about it, Right. It's like, oh boy, this has been such an annoying thing for so long that I have not wanted to deal with. And now I'm like, I'm most excited to deal with it because I can definitely change the shower head. That's just unscrewing one and putting the other one on. It's like, no problem.
Maybe some Teflon tape.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I know. So that's my. You'll think of something eventually.
Eventually.
I know.
Just give it 365 sleepless nights.
I don't know why there's like every time it comes to like anything to do with hardware stores, I'm always like, I'm just not capable of it. I don't know. I have to go figure things out. I can't go visit that. This is the same thing with like I can't order any of that stuff online. That's the other thing. Like it has not occurred to me that I could just like look at my shower head and like try and find like the brand on it and be like, can I just get like a replacement gasket online? Like even as I'm saying it out loud, this is the first time I've considered that. The whole time I'm like, I'm gonna have to take it apart. I'm gonna have to find the broken one. I'm gonna take it to the hardware store and like compare things and not know what I'm looking at. And, like it's like embarrassing to me how much of like there's this weird wall between me and hardware stores.
It's like, yeah, I think that like it's interesting because it's like you hear about like toxic relationships like between people, but it's almost like having like a toxic relationship in this particular case with your shower. Yeah. And it's like you grow to live with the pain.
Exactly.
And it's like I don't even know. I don't even think I notice it anymore. Like I can't solve this, but it's like, but you can.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's so often though. It's amazing how often you discover that you have found these like weird ways to live with something that can be like annoying in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And it's like you like instead of ever taking the time to fix it, it's like never that big of an issue to really contemplate it at all.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do feel like it's like whenever we have like a house sitter stay at our house, these things all become like very illuminated because it's like it occurs to me that I would have to explain to somebody the weird way that I have to shut the front door every day. It's like you sort of have to like pull it to the right just enough so that it'll like the door will like kind of squeeze itself back into the frame. And it's like I've been doing that for 4 years.
I don't even think about it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's like, but it is really hard to shut otherwise. So maybe I should fix that. But no, I'm the same way. Most of the time I think the problem is that it's like, it's like a molehill that like is only ever a molehill, but it's like, but it's still a hill of some kind.
Right.
And it's like, it's a very small inconvenience.
Yes. That you're more or less just like dealing with because it's not that big a deal.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man, my kids, it's sort of funny when you see kids invent games that like you invented as a kid and you're like, this must have been so annoying for mom and dad.
Oh dear.
So one of the things Nick and Nate like to do right now is they like to turn the fan on and then throw stuff into the fan and watch it get hit.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like
I remember that game.
Exactly. It's a great game.
It reminds me of the boat game.
Oh yeah. We used to play this game when we went to the beach where we had this like plastic boat.
Was it the same boat like for multiple years?
I think so, because I think it was just the Purdue's, and they would just bring this. They had like a bag of beach toys or something.
Okay, this is the family we went to the beach with as kids.
Yeah, and the game was you would turn the fan off, and you would put the boat on top of one of the fan blades, and then you would hide in the room, and then turn the fan on, and whoever got hit by the boat lost.
It was like,
and let me tell you what, if you get hit, it hurt
a lot.
A lot. Like I don't know what the fun of this game was other than seeing someone else get hit or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was just like the chance, like the thrill of not being hit. It was like you could be in danger.
Yeah.
Or
you could not.
But like, yeah, so the process of doing it, I feel like we also turn the lights off as well. So it'd be like turn fan on, lights off, hide in the room.
Yeah.
Projectile plastic.
There you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
But what a terrible game.
Yeah, but so another one now, Nick is like in his attempts to do this, he's just been like throwing a ball up, and one has like hit Luke's lamp, like the overhead light, a bunch of times. Like it hasn't broken anything, but every time he would hit it, suddenly the light would start like flickering.
Okay.
And I'd have to go like, just tap it a few times and it would come back on. And then one time he hit it and I tapped it and it does not come on again. And I'm like, did you just like knock the light bulb out of the socket or something underneath the glass? Or did you like actually damage the wiring in some way, which feels impossible.
It feels impossible.
I know. And I'm like, if you broke the fan lamp just now without like actually cracking the glass or anything, I'm going to be like, this feels beyond me. Like if I just have to change the light bulb, we're good. If I just have to tighten the light bulb, we're good. If it's more than that, I probably can't do it.
I have got nothing.
I've got it now. Now Luke's room is just dark.
We're buying a lamp.
I know.
We're buying a different lamp.
That's the thing. This is exactly the thing. Like he has like a little table lamp, and you can turn the light on in his closet, and those two things will light up the room pretty good. But it feels like one of those things where it's like suddenly 2026, and you're like, maybe we should fix the overhead light in Luke's room.
Right,
and like you turn it on one day, you finally get it fixed, and you're like, wow, it's so bright in here.
This makes such a difference.
This is such a difference. Like we've been living in the literal dark this whole time. So I'm afraid that's going to be the case. That I'm not going to fix that. That if it's not just a light bulb change, that Luke's going to be living in a semi-dark room for forever.
Oh my gosh. There is something to be said. I feel like I don't know why, because this doesn't seem like a particularly profound like phrase or concept, but like I think sometime in the past like 6 months I had discovered the phrase or term like a quality of life upgrade.
Yeah.
And they're like these like little things where it's like, oh my gosh, I solved a problem that is now like better all the time. And it's like, this is great. Quality of life just improved. And I think that it's like one of these things where I've like realized that like there is there's all sorts of like marketing, out there for a myriad of different products that can do a myriad of different things, like what have you, or even maybe just things that you already have, but like newer and cooler and more fun versions of them. But I feel like I am like reaching a stage of life, or like maybe it's just like development, or like I don't even know, like immunity to some advertising, where it's like I think the things that I want to spend money on in general are quality of life upgrades.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just almost exclusively. It's like, oh, this is gonna be so much better now.
It's better
like,
now.
Now I don't have to deal with this problem anymore. One of my most recent ones was, and I was so excited about it, was just literally installing like a slop sink. I don't know if you have a slop sink at your house. It's just like one of those big plastic like basin sinks. We had one in our childhood home in the dog's room.
Yeah, we had one at my the house before this one.
Okay.
The faucet leaked there too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, this problem follows you everywhere, apparently. I'm going to get you a gasket kit.
There you go. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah. There's nothing better than a good gasket kit.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so this was like, I think they're frequently like where washer and dryers typically are is what it is. But for me, it's in my basement, which is where all my tools are and like where I do all my yard work stuff and everything. And it's always like, I have to, frequently I'm just like very messy, and I feel like I have to like go in to my kitchen, which is now like all white everything. And I'm like, I just gets everything's dirty like so quickly. So it's just like I'm going to install a sink where my washer and dryer used to be in the basement, and then I'll be able to wash my hands in the basement. And it's like quality of life upgrade.
It's way better.
Things are just better now.
This is just better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So huge improvement there. Huge improvement.
Huge improvement.
Anyway,
Well,
be on the lookout for a good old fashioned quality of life upgrade.
Yeah. No doubt.
Anyway, transition. Okay, Jay, I actually do feel like I have a fun update, question, quandary, movement on something that people know that I've been talking about for quite some time. So we are coming up. I think that this episode is coming out on March 31st, which, by the way, happy birthday, Mom, case you're listening. It's Mom's birthday on release day of this particular episode. So that's kind of fun. But also it means that the next day, tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, will be April 1st, which is 1 full year since I did my sleeve tattoo April Fool's joke last year. And I know that like I've talked about like my tattoo quest on so many different occasions, and it is getting to the point. I think I've even compared it to this exact thing before, but like in Name of the Wind, there's like Quoth's dad is writing a song, and it's like one of those things where it's like it's kind of gone on for too long, and in the beginning people were like excited about it, and like now it's like, all right, come on, man. Like, either do it or don't, you know?
I know, like I've almost gone out and just gotten a tattoo, you know? Like, since you've been talking about it.
What are you going to get?
Pokeball?
Rattata?
No.
I don't know why Rattata was like the first thing that popped in my head. Like I was
not Rattata.
Legitimate suggestion was like, I bet it's Rattata.
It's not Rattata. I don't think I've considered like a Pokemon before. I think in the event that I like won like a big tournament, whatever like the main Pokemon of the deck would be like a really good candidate.
Oh, that would be
that,
cool.
Like as like a marker of like, you did this thing. That was cool.
Right. That would be a good one to tell people too. Like, yeah, I won like a regional tournament and I was using my Scyther deck. So boom, now I got Scyther.
So boom. Yeah, boy, I can only imagine the day when Scyther was a relevant card again in the TCG, which he has not been since base set.
Hey, manifest it, dude.
Gotta manifest it, right? Let's go. Bring Scyther back in the I mean, they print tons of them. They do. But they, you gotta get competitive with it, you know. Gotta make them better.
So anyway, but yeah. So what else have you considered?
I've considered the phrase "I'm not throwing away my shot."
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yes, I like that one. That's from like Hamilton.
I feel like every time I get into your car, that song is playing.
Yeah, it's a very long song, so it's a good odds on it. And I do listen to the Hamilton soundtrack. When I'm not listening to other things. That's typically my fallback. Like if I have nothing else to listen to, I'm like, let's go Hamilton, man.
Okay.
So I always think that's like a really good one. That's like always just like a like whenever I'm feeling like very like if I'm having like a very bad like bout of like depression or something, that is always, or like feeling like I'm not succeeding or something, that is always like something like that like rises up in my brain. Is just like there's just like no, like you're not like walking away,
right?
Like, you cannot throw away this opportunity sort of situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
It would be I think like there I'm sure that it would feel like such a like if you did it, I'd be like, all right, I'm good now. I'm really like Tyler, our younger brother. Finally, he's like the first person in the family to get a tattoo, and I feel like that was like a big step forward. And if you did it too, I'd be like, all right, I'm there. I'm gonna go get anything, just the word anything,
just the word anything.
Yeah, no, but so I found myself, there's a tattoo design that I have found. That I have like really, really, really liked. And I kept like trying to figure out like what the style of it was called. And because I kept like no matter what, I keep coming back to like the same thing. And I'm like, but I can't get that same thing because this person already has this one and it means something to them. Like, right. It's like, there's no way it can mean anything. There's no way, like, obviously there's like whatever, but it's like, I can tell it's like, okay, it's the closest thing I've ever been able to find to like the definitive answer for like what I'm looking for. And so finally I was able to discover the artist that did the particular design that I like. And I was like, wow, this is pretty unbelievable. And I was like scrolling his website and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I think I did it. I think I found the artist, it's
right.
like, and it's so weird because like the way I was scrolling through all these images and everything, and it was like any one image, any one tattoo wasn't specifically something that I myself coveted necessarily, like the original one that got me there, where it was like, where I thought like, ooh, I want this one,
right.
It wasn't like that, but it was so strange to me how it was like, I felt like every single individual, like piece of art, it was like, I feel like I understand. All I can see is this person's arm or shoulder or back or whatever. Like, you can't see anything else about them. You don't know anything else about them. It was like, I feel like I know them a little bit. And I was like, that is cool to me. Like that right. to me, like speaks to something that I would want to accomplish with whatever I got.
Right.
And that was something that like couldn't have really articulated, have not really been able to like put into words or anything. But so this is like one of those where, I've talked about it, but like I've been so terrified and worried about going in and like bothering an artist at like an actual like local shop or something by being like, I don't really know what I want. Like, I just, here's a thought. You could try that. Like, oh no, that's not what it is. Like, cause I don't know the style that I'm like trying to accomplish in the end.
Yeah.
And so I'm like scrolling this guy's website and everything. And he, like the website makes it feel like he has like a New York City based parlor.
Right.
And so I'm talking to Alice about it last night, and I'm like, okay, would we go to New York City to do this? Like, would it be worth that kind of journey where it's like, okay, like we're going to go, like we're going to make like a dedicated trip. It's like the whole point. Like I found my artist, I found my person, I found the style, I found the, the inspo and everything. Of course, at this point in time, and this is never a good sign, but like rates not even listed, and it was like, it's like, oh, geez, that's probably not good.
Right. Yeah.
And so, then I'm like, oh gosh, okay. So, but last night I like, and this to me genuinely and honestly was like working up courage, like to send the email, to this artist to see if there's like an opportunity to potentially like get on like their list or like to work with them or something. Like I can't stress it enough. To me, it literally felt like being like in middle school, seeing a girl across the gym at like a school dance and like the fear of going over and asking if they want to do dance with you.
Right. Like this guy, like you're going to send the email and this guy's going to be like, what, this guy, I wouldn't even consider tattooing your body. Are you joking?
Yes. Like I would not accept your payment.
Right.
To be the recipient of one of my works of art.
Yeah. You're not a worthy canvas.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, I mean, genuine nerves. I'm like sitting over there. I'm like typing the email out, which is like a contact form, and it's like, I like wrote it and then I like revised it and then I like reread it again. I'm like showing Alice. I'm like, does this sound good? Do I sound pretentious or something? Like, I don't know. I'm like so worried about it. And finally, like I hit send on it and then like I literally spent the rest of the night. I sent it at like 10 p.m.
Right.
I spent the rest of the night refreshing my email as if he was going to email me back.
Like right there.
Yeah. And so first thing this morning I wake up and it's still like super top of mind. So like I reach over, I grab my phone, I refresh my email, and boom, I was like, there's a response. I was like,
oh my gosh,
holy cow. Like I'm like, I am sweaty palms, I'm nervous about this.
Goodness, man.
I know. Maybe I'm conveying possibly for the first time, hopefully effectively, like the kind of like inner battling I've been having over this entire thing. Like I know it seems like wishy-washiness or something like that, but it's just like, like it means a lot to me in a way that I can't really like articulate. But so I like opened the email and apparently he had like a New York City residency, but he currently resides in Budapest. And it's like
a little further away.
A little bit further away, and so like already I was kind of like, all right, like would we go to New York City for this? Like is it like, like the journey, it's like it's all part of it. And so it like, but the response is very friendly, it's very nice. It's like, would you be willing to travel to Budapest? Like there is an availability like at the end of April, if you're able to like make it to Hungary to to get your session in.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And I was like, holy crap. And
right, like he's not saying no. It's like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're in. Just if you can get here.
Right, yes. And so it sounds like
even that email makes it sound like that's not uncommon for his business.
I think that's exactly it because and so like I said, like he had like a New York City residency, which is why I was like, oh, okay, like that's like, that would be the opportunity. And I guess he lives permanently in Budapest. But like even after that, like if the April dates don't work with you, like that's no problem. We also have a residency that's going to be taking place in Bali from May to June.
We're going to India, man.
I'm like, how? Of course, like, and so now my question is sort of like this, for what it's worth, I cannot go to Budapest in the next month. I have my marathon next month, so definitely am 100% booked. And I don't know that we could get to Bali. That feels like, again, it feels like one of those things like it must be illegal, right? Like,
yeah.
You can't actually
I
go.
can probably look up flights right now. Certainly you could get there.
I know. But like, so now I'm finding myself in this like fascinating like situation where it's like I've had this mountain, which was finding like my starting point. And the thing is for me now though, it's like it's sort of thrilling to me because I feel like I found a starting point, and I know that like now achieving this will be a gauntlet, and beyond that it will be like an investment, because like no matter what, if I'm to work with this particular artist, it means I'm probably going to have to travel internationally to do so,
right?
Which is something I had never considered before.
Right, didn't think this was part of it.
Yeah, but there's something about it where it was just like, I felt like when I found it, you know. It was like finding like the answer to like one of our theories as like we're writing, or like when we were kids, we've talked before about like hunting for like Hot Wheels cars and like finding a treasure hunt, you know. It was like one of these moments where it was like I found it, but now I have to figure out how to get it,
right? Yeah.
and or how to do it. And so like the big question is like, but would it help me solidify that much more if there was this like extra barrier, if there was this like, it's like not only do you now have to be like, okay, like I'm committing to like this like permanent inclusion on my person, you know, this image or whatever, you know, like working itself out, but it's like I'm gonna have to get there somehow. So I don't know. What do you think?
Should you go to Budapest?
Should I go to Budapest? Are we going to Budapest?
Are we going to Budapest, man? I mean, like you said, it seems like you probably can't get there by next month.
I can't get there by next month. And I did respond back to the email already and asked, like, where in the world, like, you know, it's like this is the strangest thing I've ever like engaged in. And I'm just like, where might he be in like November? You know,
right?
Like,
yeah.
I don't have any travel in November. Like maybe I can go then. You know, but it's I like the fact that there's like something to like point the sails towards.
Right. Sure. Like, so, but also to be clear, you still don't have like an actual design picked out.
Yeah, I don't have an actual design picked out. I feel like if I could have the additional. Like boxes breed creativity, right? You know, so like I feel like if I could find the box and almost even be like, okay, so I'm going to Budapest in November, for example. If that ends up being the thing, it's like now I know, like this person is pretty important. They are the person that I feel like is like the answer to my question. I like literally all of their other work. Even if it's not like designs that like I would want for me, it's like I can still appreciate the like aesthetic being like accomplished there. So it's like maybe if it was just sort of, and maybe it's even one of those things where it's like it doesn't matter like what the design is, like that's part of like the consultation. So you book like a day, like you are their client for the whole day.
The whole day. Okay. Wow.
And that includes like your like consultation, the design work, and the process itself. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just very odd. I feel like I opened a door into a kind of like corner of the world that I've just never even considered before. I didn't even know it existed. So I don't know.
That's it. Seems like if this person travels this much, maybe they would find themselves back in America eventually.
I know, right? So that's the other thing too. It's like, is it worth just sort of like knowing that like when that happens, like that's the cross section, like now's the now,
or is it possible as well that this is like a well defined enough style of tattoo that there's someone closer to home, or does it feel more appealing to you that like part of this, like permanent thing on your body should involve like more of a quest?
That I think, you know, it's funny because like I think that I think is a part of it. Like I think that helps me because then it's like you're taking many small steps along the path to like the conclusion. Like and I feel like that like anticipation, the build up, the excitement or whatever, even maybe like the trust that you might have that like no matter what, it will be something kind of like glorious. Yeah. You know, like all of that seems to click into place in a way that makes sense to me. And I think the other thing too is when I first read the email, I was like, well, I can't go to Budapest. And then like within 15 minutes, I was like, maybe I can.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's like
this is not like a small thing to me. Yeah. You know, it's like, so it's like, maybe it's just worth it to try. Right. To do it.
Like it's worth it. It's interesting, like how important it is to you to like just have art tattooed on your body.
Right. Well, so I told you I drafted this email like over and over and over again. And one of the like sentiments that like I ultimately came down to that was almost like my plea as to like why I would be like worthy to work with this person again, like which sounds so crazy, but again it's more my own internalized like insecurity being like projected outwards or whatever. But it's like I think when it comes down to it, it's like I know that there's something that internally is like trying to be said, and like I can't like draw, but it's like I feel like this is a way to express it, and like I want to express it. And so it feels more than anything else like it's like the key to that expression.
I see. In that case, it does feel pretty important. It's not just like I just want something cool on me.
Right. It's not that, which I have no issue with that approach to, because I know that's for anybody that could be the entire appeal is like,
right,
this is a cool way to like personalize my being,
my body.
You know, like I get to choose something about it. And it's very possible that like once the seal has been broken, maybe that is like the type of thing that would feel so much more available to me.
Right.
But there is something that feels very momentous about like the like breaking that seal.
Right.
So anyway. So
I don't know. Maybe you should just go to India, man.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, be sure to let me know what you think. Send me your feedback to popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Any guidance, super appreciated.
Yeah. All right. Transition. All right, Ben. What do you say to getting a little elemental? Yeah, like with like the element of surprise.
What?
Oh,
what?
Yes.
What is happening?
Okay,
it's been a minute.
We haven't had. That's what makes it so surprising.
You let me go on that long about tattoos when you had this ace in the hole in the pocket.
Exactly, Ben, and it's quite an ace. Let me tell you.
Oh, wait.
Actually, on the note of tattoos, one time when we were at Emerald Point, there was like a henna tattoo thing that I got, and it was the ace of spades right there on my left, the inside left of my left forearm is where I got it. Yeah. It was the ace of spades. And I just thought it like, I don't know what it was. I think I was just really into I was into cards. Like I thought this is part of my personality. I've always just thought like cards and dice and things like that were cool. So I was like, I remember doing that, and then it was just like the henna tattoos last like a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was working at Panera at the time, and it was like amazing to me. Like the other people who worked at Panera with me would like see it and be like, "Whoa, do you guys like? Whoa, that's awesome! What is that?" And it was like, "Oh, this is not real," but
right.
It was like interesting to me, like the reaction I got when people thought I had that.
That is interesting.
It was like, interesting. Anyway, not the element of surprise.
Okay.
So you'll recall a few weeks ago, we were discussing the history of jokes about Limburger cheese on in the 90s or whatever.
The history, yes, I do remember this.
Yeah,
and I thought that you were like pranking me somehow.
Yeah, I was not pranking you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually looked it up, and I was like, am I remembering this wrong? Was this just like something very specific I noticed or something? And like, if you're on like TV tropes, like making fun of specifically Limburger cheese was a thing for a while on TV.
Okay.
And it was this is a thing, as well as just the greater category of making fun of smelly cheese in general.
Sure.
So anyway, I was like, well, this is, I love a good charcuterie board. It's one of my literal favorite things ever.
Yeah.
Like, man, like if you want to just like make me a very happy person, you just have like a cheese board with all the things to mix and match and try. It's my favorite thing ever. I was like, you know what? It's just cheese. And you know what? I even like some of the smelly cheeses. So I was like, can you like, maybe I'll just buy some,
Oh dear.
I'll just go buy some.
Did you do that?
And, well, it's harder than you think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Apparently, yes.
Is it like the pierogi cheese?
Well, I not quite like that, because you can get it online.
Okay.
But apparently Limburger was a much more popular thing. I'm not sure if maybe all the jokes like just killed it or whatever.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if your business was selling Limburger cheese and then all of a sudden like somehow, some way, a whole bunch of like TV and cartoon shows like annihilated your business?
You're like,
it's
well,
like,
geez, this is how it's supposed to smell.
Cheese.
This is,
that's
exactly.
Funny. Yep.
Anyway, it is now only made in one place in America.
No way.
One cheesery, as it were. One
okay.
cheese, that's probably not the right word, in Wisconsin, as you might expect.
Yep, certainly.
And I found them, and Ben, I have here with us
No,
some
you don't.
Limburg, some rare Limburger cheese.
What
Bam.
on earth? How did
There
we
it
drove
is.
together this morning? How did you sneak it in?
Man, it's been in the office for over a week because I didn't know when we were going to record the episode.
And I haven't seen it.
It's just been in the fridge.
It's been fridged.
It's been in the fridge. It's been in the drawer in the back, and I was like,
Let me see it.
No
Let
one
me
ever
see
opens this drawer.
It's like squishy.
It's a little squishy.
It's
Yeah.
a little.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it smells.
You get some funk?
Yeah, I got some funk. All
Well,
right.
I
So-
figured we should, do the little colonel some justice here and sample and smell the Limburger cheese.
Oh, great. Okay, bring it on.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's probably gonna be.
I bet it's
okay.
great. Maybe
I
we
know.
can revive.
Maybe we can revive. We're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back,
We're bringing
people.
back Limburger.
Just
Here we
everybody
go.
get your clothespins ready and just.
Okay, so everyone just hold please real quick while we open this and slice a piece off for me and Ben.
Okay. Elevator music. Yeah. Okay. So just for reference, as Jay was just unpackaging it here, he removed the foil and sort of had you could like watch the smell hit him in the face, and he was like, and this is someone who happily will eat smalicious cheese on purpose. Man, you cut like 2 big old chunks. Okay.
Okay, so we've done a bunch of charcuteries and stuff, and people will say like, now this is like the little bit smellier one, and I have never ever thought like, okay, it actually smells bad or anything. I can tell you that this one for sure. It does not smell good.
It doesn't
straight up.
I can 100%.
I can confirm where the jokes came from. I think I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's no way it smells as bad as the jokes.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it smells like a diaper.
It smells like I've heard that it compared to feet is the thing most people think. I'm not sure. Which I
don't know why I keep giving it like a huge like
just
wolf.
really giving it the wolf there.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna get some. I got a little bit of rind on my edge here. Do you have some rind?
I mean, I do. I was gonna go just sort of right for the middle.
Right for the middle.
The rind.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah,
Cheers.
are you nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as you started this conversation, I was like,
uh-oh, it's here.
It takes me back to the Go Fest where you had the Juicy and you busted it out on me with the element of surprise. So at some point in time, apparently, we're just gonna need a show where you and I just eat exotic
unusual
things. Yeah. All right. So
well, here
cheers
we go.
to the exotic
Cheers.
per Wisconsin.
Okay. I will say it tastes significantly better than it smells.
Tastes significantly better than it smells.
However,
Confirmed.
you can't not be smelling it.
It like infiltrates your strills.
Yeah, it does, man. It is a pungent experience, to be sure.
Okay, I'm putting it down. Hang on.
Yeah. I have a whole block of this at my house too.
Goodness,
I
gracious.
honestly thought it was gonna be like this would be like sort of like a fun thing. Like it'll be cool one night that me and Beth can like go like bust this out and try it, and maybe we'll like maybe this will be this like cool thing we like discovered, and there's only one place you can get it.
This is horrifying, but I feel like I'm breathing onto my microphone, and it is causing me to smell the cheese. It's like that's absolutely disgusting.
It does not smell good. Yeah,
it really smells bad. It's okay. I would say that the flavor is completely. I would call it mild, even.
I would say it mild. Yeah. I don't know. I can see it. This is what I suspected, though, is that it must have tasted good enough for people to have been putting up with the smell.
Yeah.
I think that was like my hope. That was like, it's going to smell bad, but then you're going to eat it and be like, oh, wait, maybe it's worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and you're definitely right. Like, it reminds me of like a very like fresh cheese, like not terribly far. You covering it to try to block. I'm covering it to try and block
some aroma. Yeah.
Yeah. So it like one of the things that I feel like our dad's parents, so our grandparents on that side, had introduced to us at one point in time is just like cheese curds, which I think are just like cheese before it's been turned into like anything more like before any aging has happened.
Right.
And the word curd is not exact. It's a little too. I mean,
it's not a great word.
It's the shorthand for curdle, which is not exactly the most like
that's
appetizing.
What it brings. You're like curdled cheese.
I know, yeah. Like it definitely like doesn't. But I freaking love me some cheese curds. Like they are so dang tasty.
I'm gonna have to wash my hands.
I know. That's the problem. Yeah. I feel like I always like as I talk, I like mess with my beard a lot. And I'm like, I can't let that hand anywhere near my face right now.
Jeez.
But yeah, no. So I mean, I can't say that I would be stoked to have more.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's the sort of thing where like maybe after it's been like out for a minute, like maybe it doesn't smell. Maybe the smell like evaporates some.
Does smell go somewhere? Or does it just go and like land on things?
I don't know. It's sort of like it's not like. I guess at the same rate, it's not like if you have like a smell of something, you just smell it a lot, the smell goes away. You can't like suck up all the smell off something.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So maybe I don't. So now that I've said that, I'm like, I doubt that's going to happen. It's probably just going to continue to smell, just spread.
Yeah, great. Now our whole office where we're filming all day today is gonna be yay, just nice and delicious and tasty.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a weird one, but I mean, it takes me back to like in my aquarium days. Like one of the big filter. The heart of a saltwater aquarium filter system, for me to like normally Jay gets too technical about Pokemon. This is Ben gets too technical about aquariums. The heart and soul of your filtration system for a saltwater aquarium is called a protein skimmer.
Yeah.
And literally what it does is like it is really aerated water that is being like pumped into this like container, which creates like a foam, and the foam is very similar to like what you might find on the beach as like waves are crashing. If you've ever like gone and like made like a Santa beard out of like the foam.
Oh yeah.
That's effectively what a protein skimmer is creating, and what that foam is pretty much just fish poop.
Oh man.
So next time you make
a poop beard.
Next time you make a Santa Claus beard, just keep that in mind.
Bear in mind.
But especially as time goes on, it will start to, that foam will like pour over into like a collection cup. It makes a very thick and dark green fluid, which is so nasty. And it is like when you first get into aquariums, it is like the absolute like worst thing in the world to have to like clean one.
Yeah.
Because it smells so bad. But when I was doing my aquarium stuff all day, every day, I was working in a basement where I was just in the same like facility, the same room as the protein skimmers.
You went like nose blind to this protein skimmer?
Hardcore nose blind to it. Yeah. So it's just like, I can't smell it at all anymore. But I have to imagine what smells is like the bacteria. And so I think bacteria is a big part of how cheese is made. Mm-hmm. And so for what I feel like I'm getting dangerously close to having protein skimmer foam and cheese in these like overlapping circles in my mind.
Oh yeah, can't have that. Can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be very cautious.
Yeah. You don't want to like ruin just cheese in general for yourself there.
So how did it get packed, and how was it sent to you? Was it like in like a fridged cooler?
It was. Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. It arrived at my house whilst we were at Disney.
Oh
so,
no!
I know. So now my in-laws were there. They immediately received the package.
Oh, okay.
They put it in the fridge.
I was like, did everybody just listen to / watch us get food poisoning?
Yeah. Or maybe that happened.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It sat on the porch for several days. Maybe it's not supposed to smell like this.
Yeah, maybe it smells worse. And you're just like, no, it's supposed to smell bad. That's part of it.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Has this gone bad? Oh, I can't even imagine checking this cheese, like picking up out of your fridge and like smelling it to be like, oh, is this still good?
I know.
Not knowing and being like, whoa.
I mean, even the coloration of it, it's just sort of like, it looks like it could be bad. And it's like, I don't think it is, because it has been in the fridge the whole time.
Right.
And it tasted okay.
It did taste okay.
I don't know what you would use this for. Like, I can't imagine putting this on like out at a party, because the smell is still bad. I can still,
it's still
actively,
there.
It's not like dissipating. Maybe if you had other things competing with it, maybe if you cook it in something, that would be better.
I'm really glad that the like foil wrapper that it is contained in had done a good job of containing it, because I feel like if I had like walked into the pop set room to record and was like, what is that smell?
What is that smell?
Do we have a raccoon that is actively dying under one of our chairs? It must be that.
It is, yeah. Man, I am alarmed at how much worse the smell is than I thought. So Like I am, I've like punked myself here a little.
Yeah. You are closer to it than I am.
I am closer to it. Yeah, and it's on my hands a little more.
Okay, well the good news is I feel like we're at a great stopping point for the week.
Point to go. Let Ethan, the editor, try the cheese or Kat.
Do they know that it's here?
Ethan knows that you were in the bathroom getting ready for this show, and I like pulled it out and was like, "Guess what?" And he was like, "So
amazing."
He knows.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll try it.
Most certainly,
or
probably.
maybe not, and we'll just throw it away. Because I'll tell you what, I don't think I want more.
I think I'm all set. I've had my fill. I've had my fill.
But you know what? I'm also very excited that we tried it.
We did.
And it felt like this like mysterious like thing you would never try, and now we have.
And we can check that box.
Now we've tried Limburger cheese.
We done did it,
and I understand more why it's not more widespread.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that it wasn't the TV shows that caused.
I'm starting to think.
Right. Yeah. It's like those people over at the Limburg cheese factory are like, man, can you imagine working in the facility where it's made?
Well, they're all nose blind,
Apparently, they go home every day, and it's just like you gotta like burn your clothes at the door.
That's it.
Yeah, we have an incinerator right next to the front door, so we just literally drop it in there and it catches on fire.
Maybe they've got like hazmat suits or something. We're working with the cheese, so you can just leave the suit there. You come home, you're nice and fresh.
The jokes basically write themselves.
They do.
It's not hard to make fun of it.
It's not hard to make fun of it. It's not like so tremendously tasty that you can overcome the smell. The smell is the defining factor for sure. So you know what? If you want like a really fun conversation cheese, this is the one.
This is the great conversation cheese.
I mean, yes.
Pairs nicely with Kool-Aid. I was trying to think of something like not glamorous to pair it with.
No, I bet it would go. I bet it'd be okay with some wine. Probably wine would help. Wine smells very good.
But yeah, true. Maybe that's the real goal. There is contrast.
Right? Yeah, you need some like
go from the smelliness of the cheese to the deliciousness of the wine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for subjecting me to that. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, fun element of surprise on the day. Otherwise, guys, if you have any feedback for today's episode of the show, be sure to head on over to your email. Head on over to your email app. Just open it up. Type in popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Drop me a line. I do read all of your emails, even if I don't have the time to respond to every single one of them. I do respond to quite a few, though. So I appreciate anything you got to say. Otherwise, if you got a review for us, be sure to drop a review over anywhere where pods are cast so that it kind of helps with the general discoverability of the show. And lastly, if you'd like to support us over on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/popcornculture. But otherwise, until next time,
pop.